guys, and I'm gonna try and not screw up the names too bad, so forgive me in advance. I have today with me Ralf Dietel
Yes.
and Niki Skistamis.
Check you out.
Look at that. Not bad. They make up Crash Karma. Crash Karma is a duo. I have the whole band with me, based in Los Angeles. They have toured all over the world, really, in the past. Currently part of Fozzy's Save the World tour, which everybody should check out. It's a great lineup. They released an 8-song EP last year called Storm, and they have just released a new single called Blind Faith. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all kinds of things because I got so many questions. You're a duo. Why are you a duo? How did that happen? The sound, the bass, the guitar. There's a trick to that. We want to hear about that. All kinds of questions for you guys. But let me start by, I see this all over in articles and everything, and you're being called the white stripes of metal. The configuration for you guys is similar and stuff like that. How's that sit with you guys?
I mean, I love Jack White, and that was an amazing duo, and they were very groundbreaking for their time, and all of the things that they did were amazing. So I don't have any negativity towards that end of the spectrum.
Oh, excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
we're gonna become what the Vibes became for the indie scene. That's
For
what
the
we're gonna
metal
become
scene.
for the metal scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm down.
Yeah, bring it on.
Very cool. Were they an inspiration for you guys, an influence at all?
Not
Not-
really, not directly.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
Honestly, anything that's good inspires us.
Yeah.
In that regard, the White Stripes, Jack White definitely showed that if you have a good song will prevails any limitations. So even though there was this girl drummer who kept it really simple, their songs were so good that they need to be heard. So, and we knew if we take that same concept and put it in the metal world and we can create a fuller sound, which I created with my Frankenstein guitar, then we will basically create the same idea just in the metal world.
And with more metal riffs, metal playing, just more in that genre. So it's a different spin on a similar thing.
Right. Totally. Now I know you guys are out on the tour. You recently had some tour trouble, road trouble. I know that's not uncommon for you guys. Is that the worst part of the tour? How's the tour going, other than that? And is that the worst part of touring for you guys? Because you've been doing this a pretty long time.
Yeah, the worst part is always when you can't make it to a show because of van issues. It's like,
Sure.
but you put a lot of miles on a car. You can only do what you can do. And that's just, it gets you where it can get you. And when it falls apart, you got to deal with it. That's kind of just the perils of the road.
Until the wheels fall off. We wish we could afford a big ass nice tour bus, but we have to make some dough too. So at the end we try to cut corners and save money, and sometimes shit craps out.
Yeah. Well, a tour bus now at $5 a gallon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know that too many can afford that. Really.
No, and we're always looking to upgrade, and the idea is that you have to be in a position to upgrade. So we always try to ride it as on that fine line as we can, and sometimes you pay the price, and that's just what happened. So
Yeah. Now, the White Stripes, to refer back to them, we had a husband and wife duo. It was, is there a relation with you guys? Are you, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, cousins?
ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Ex-girlfriend. Since we are also married, she became my ex-girlfriend.
All right. That's even closer to the White Stripes thing then, huh? Very cool. Very cool. Tell me about your growing up. Ralf, I know, born in Germany, grew up in
Yes.
Germany.
Mhm.
And Niki, I'm not so sure. Jersey girl, I think, right?
Yep. I grew up in New Jersey.
Cool. What was it like, music around the house and things like that?
Well, I got pretty lucky. My parents, I grew up primarily with my mother and my stepfather in New Jersey. And my stepfather was also a musician growing up, and they listened to pretty good music, Zeppelin, Queen, also just like the old Hank Williams Jr., a lot of that nice outlaw country style, as well as Elton John and Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen, of course, and Bon Jovi and all the things, but good music, record player in the house, and my dad was also, he lived in the Midwest, but he was a trained trumpet player. So he was more into like the jazz and things like that, and kind of started me with counting songs and things like that. So I had a pretty well musically rounded upbringing.
Very cool. Very cool, Ralf.
No one in my family really did music. My mom played the flute here and there, but when I was 6 years old, I saw a Kiss poster and I saw blood and fire, and I knew that's what I want to do. So I asked my parents for a drum kit, and they gave me a recorder. I also played the flute for a few years, and eventually I talked him into buying me a guitar. And I played classical guitar, jazz guitar, and finally I discovered the distortion pedal. And then I was able to play Kiss, AC/DC, and Iron Maiden. And then one of the first shows I saw was Iron Maiden and Kiss. Iron Maiden and the Metallica. And then it went all uphill from there.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Formal music training? Okay. Drums for you, Niki?
I'm self-taught and had only always teachers, but one-on-one. I didn't go to a formal school, no.
Wow. Ralf Dietel.
Of course, I went to music school for the recorders. I was playing when I was a little kid, and I learned notes and how to read and write music. Mm-hmm. And I remember as soon as I was able to write music, just notes, I started writing songs. And then I got the guitar, and I had to play classical guitar. And then I got an electric guitar, and I played jazz guitar. And before I started playing the metal music that I always enjoyed, I definitely went through all the hoops to learn music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it shows in your music. There's an accomplished growth to the music. It is not, it's mature. Let's say that. It's accomplished. It's this. You guys aren't, rookies at this for sure.
And we love songwriting, and that's a big thing. It's like we love songwriting. So we love pop songs. We love all kinds of good songwriting elements, and that's something that we want to shine in this genre as well. And bring to the table.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about the songwriting as well. I see a lot of songs, especially on Storm, inspired by music and television, or movies and television.
Yeah.
My favorite KrashKarma song, "The One Who Knocks."
Nice.
It's just so I over and over and over. I can't get it. Can't get it.
Talking of which, we just got on TV to watch Better Call Saul.
Yes. Very cool. Yeah, no doubt. I heard that song, and there's that connection to Breaking Bad, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. And everybody loves Breaking Bad. But you have The Mandalorian with The Way, Strike First, Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Girl with a Hammer, like almost Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
that's a song about Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you guys seem to be very inspired by motion picture, that fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that where a lot of that influence comes from when you're writing, the inspiration?
Lyrical content, a lot of times, yes. It's more about, we like writing about things that we like, and that we connect with other people on, and these pop culture things that we love connect with many people that share the same interests as we do, and it helps to create a bond and something similar to create a rapport with your fan base. And
there's just so many things to draw from.
Yeah.
I remember when The Mandalorian first came up, we started watching it right away before it became the big grace that it was. and everybody was like, "This is the way." It just became something that you say that you said on the nerds, you know. And then of course, you say it 3 times, and then me
this is a song.
me being a musician was like, "Man, this needs to be a song. This is the way." And then there you go. And then the same thing was with Harlequin, with the Suicide Squad. I think, remember when this came out, and I watched the trailer. I was like, "Oh, that seems to be a good movie." And then I saw the hammer. I was like,
and I love Harley Quinn, obviously.
yeah. But then we like to put different elements in the music in our live set too. And so we thought this would be the coolest thing if we had a song where Niki has a big hammer and hammers away. And that's how that whole thing started. It's like no other band's doing this, so we have to do it.
It was cool too. And in the live set, you got that hammer, and and I love the strong female too, that and on this day, on the Fozzy tour, you have the girls right after you, so talking about strong females in GFM. Another strong drummer too. And it's just I love seeing that, and you getting up on that drum, that bridge that you have over the bass drum, man, and with that hammer, it's empowering, as a male standing there. And I went with my daughter, and, it's just, we were blown away. We really were blown away at the sound from you guys was just enormous. And the energy and the it's just so powerful, and smiles on your faces all the time. You are enjoying what you're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a gift to all of us when you do that. And,
awesome.
Yeah, it was.
That's what we want to do.
Very much appreciated. Yeah. Ralf, 9 Inch Nails for 30 days.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
That was a thing. Yeah,
you have to explain the 30 days to me.
Oh, they were looking for a guitar player, and they auditioned everybody in LA, and I think it was the last guy that auditioned probably, and they saw my stage presence, and so I got the gig. But they were more looking for like a team with a guitar tech who could build like a spaceship of a guitar rig and make it sound like a spaceship, and I'm more like a rock and roll guy. And it was just a very crazy time too. At this time, Trent was also suing his manager, so the management who had to take care of my needs wasn't there, and so a lot of things came together, and at the end it didn't really work out. And so it was a good experience, but I had to keep doing what I do, and they had to keep doing what they did.
And it's it's good for us that it didn't work out, because we get Crash Karma.
It was a good experience, and Trent was a super cool guy, and everything was good, but it was just a crazy time the band was in the time when I joined them.
Yeah. How did you guys end up a duo? Now I know you started as Suicide Holiday, which is still on Spotify available to listen to. How do you end up a duo, and how has the sound of the music changed for you?
Well, Suicide Holiday was his band, and I actually joined when one of their players couldn't play a tour, and that's how I wound up playing with that band. And as we kept going and progressing with that, we got closer and wanted to make different music and just add different elements and do different things. So in Suicide Holiday, there was a specific vision that he was going for that was using, what were you doing, only certain chords? Or
it was also a crazy guitar setup,
with
different guitars with single strings, which morphed into a one instrument with power chords again, and with a one string pickup that basically creates what usually 3 people creating, a bass and 2 guitars.
But so he had this whole vision there, but it was like kind of pigeonholed in this one direction. And as we started writing together and doing other things, we decided that we wanted to just start a different band and just do something different. And the original goal was not to be a 2-piece. The original was to have a normal 4-piece band like everybody else.
But it didn't work out that way, did it?
Fate had something else in store for us.
And it's really cool too. It's great as a live presence, even without sound. It's just a great, simple, to the point. You can watch the whole band, and the sound is just enormous. Now, let's get into that. You have the Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, Mrs. Frankenstein guitar. It's a guitar and a bass. Bass pickup and a guitar pickup. They pick up different strings, different. how do you, first of all, how does it work? Explain it for the layman out here. And how do you build that? I mean, do you have a background in are you a luthier? You know,
He's a mad scientist.
yeah.
I'm endorsed by ESP, so they gave me basically guitars, but I modify them heavily. So what you basically see us and hear us playing is a instrument that has normal 6 strings, but it has 2 different sets of outputs, so I can process them differently. Hence, make them sound like 2 different instruments. And I mean, there's different guitar players who try or who's doing what I do, and there's a lot of people who did it before. The unique thing about what I'm doing is that I only take 1 string, not a bunch of strings, and lower them an octave lower. Therefore, I always get a clean root note. And I'm also playing bass in different bands, and I know that you cannot play chords on a bass. So you need to have a clean root note. So this is why I came up with a 1 string pickup. Therefore, I need to slide a lot on my instruments. I always need to play the E string. If I don't play the E string, there's no bass. And it's also in the right hand picking. So whatever Niki is playing on the kick drum, that's my strumming pattern for the E string, and everything else is on the higher strings. So that's creating that sound that you hear. And there's a lot of go da. So a lot of one and there. And this is why you have the impression that you hear more than one instrument, because I'm basically filling all the notes in between. And I have the bass notes that follow the kick drum most of the time, and the lead notes that are sitting in between. And then on top we put the vocal melodies. And this is how, and then of course I have different effects on my guitar as well, where I can have pitch effects. So the bass is holding on the root, and then I'm going to the fifth on the octave or 2 octaves up, or like, if you listen to the song, The One Who Knocks, wow, wow, wow.
Right.
So there's a lot of pitch effects going on, where the bass is always keeping it down. The bass is always just has the bass groove and the note. And but what the guitar's doing, there's going to be delays, effects, pitch pedals, and that's why you have the impression there's more than one guy playing an instrument.
It's genius, my friend. It is absolute genius to watch you do it live is uncanny. I mean, it's incredible.
I mean, he had to like learn how to play it from scratch, kind of. It's like his whole style of playing had to change in order to play this new instrument, and so our writing changed and morphed too into this whole new style. And that's what gives it that unique feel.
Yeah, that I would imagine the writing has to change around that. Yeah. And you're playing guitar. And it's not like there's simple guitar. There's guitar parts in these songs.
Yeah.
It's not just a 3-chord thing. There are solos. There are it's a guitar based music that you're playing with this bombastic bass line going, all done at the same time. It's mind-blowing. It really is. It's so cool. Do you have electronics background? Were you trained at all, or did you just take one apart and say, hey, let's cross the wires and see what happens?
When it first started and I came up with the idea, and I was basically in the rehearsal room, and I played, Niki and I were just playing, the two of us, without the bass player, and I realized that 90% of what I'm playing is basically the bass is doubling up what I'm playing on the E string anyway. That's when I realized, okay, I should have a 1-string pickup. That's when I started sawing pickups in half and sawing metals in half and Frankensteining crazy versions of the instrument together.
Yeah, this is version like 5.0.
So, but then the reason I'm doing all this is my dad, he's an electrician. And ever since I was a young kid and my amplifiers broke, he always repaired them with me. And I watched him taking everything apart, soldering. So I know how to solder, and I know how to put things together and fix things. And so when we were on the tour again in Germany, I had a setup with my dad, and I told him what I needed. And then we bought the components, and then we Frankenstein the hell out of the thing. And this is how Mrs. Frankenstein came to life.
Yeah.
It basically was a mad German scientist and his son.
Lightning bolt and everything.
Oh yeah. Like the whole neighborhood went dark a couple times.
Right, no doubt.
Yes. And that's how
Are
it came
you?
to life.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that's how it came to life. So I got
Mhm.
Miss Frankenstein and Regan, which is the little sister of Miss Frankenstein. And that's the face from The Exorcist.
Yep, absolutely. Oh yeah, that's just way cool. Have you thought about like a patent on this design?
Yes, I thought about it,
Never
but
seen anything like it.
Yeah.
yes, I thought about it, but you know, like the day has 24 hours. I'm playing music, and I really enjoy playing music. And if I wanted to sell guitars, I would do something different. And I still have the idea, and maybe I put a patent on it, and I build a few more and sell them, maybe. But for now, I'm really busy doing what I do, and I love doing what I do. That's why it wasn't necessary yet. If there's a day in my life, I will do it. But for now, I love destroying a stage with Niki and traveling the country, and it takes all my time.
And we love watching you do it for sure. It's just like cool. Any looper pedal or anything like that, just to maintain that rhythm or something while you have while you're playing. I mean,
I do have own looper pedals,
one. Yeah.
and I tried them too, but then it's always why. If I can write the song, then I write the song, so I don't need the looper pedal. You know what? I bought the nicest looper pedal a few years ago, and I always thought, yeah, it's gonna be the time when I need it, but there was never the time when I need it. It's something in the back of my mind where I feel like, yeah, if I put a patent on it, I would definitely have the whole pickup system and the guitar interact with the looper pedal, and it would be definitely still an option. But I didn't need it yet. Anything I play, and
you just taught yourself to
and that's
play like a looper pedal. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, when you record, you're recording the records. Do you play a bass for the bass lines and then play a guitar?
Honestly, when I'm in the studio, I write the riffs, and once I write all the riffs, I play my instrument, but I'm still playing every instrument. Okay, let's record the bass, and then record the guitar, and then double up the guitar. So I have different levels of dynamics, but I'm not recording. But I'm not playing additional parts. I'm basically actually playing what I'm playing. Right. That doesn't mean that I if I'm live on stage, what you hear is the bass, and then the guitar, which is basically a rhythm guitar that's split in a left and a right signal with a little delay and a little bit of pitch shifting. So it sounds like two guitars. When I'm in the studio, of course, I still record the same part twice, and I record the bass separate.
But he uses Frankenstein. He doesn't use a different bass.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
So in the recording process, I'm still recording every part separate. But that doesn't mean that I record parts that I cannot play. Basically, it is that one part that I play. But for dynamic purposes, for the instruments, I might double up a guitar, might double up the bass, and of course,
but that's standard recording. Yeah, standard recording.
So at the end, what you hear on the album is one guy playing the part.
Yeah.
There's like if you hear a solo and a bass line, I figured out how to play that bass and that solo at the same time.
That's great. It's cool to watch too. It really is. Yeah, you guys are a blast to watch, to listen to and to watch. It's just great what you're doing. I tell people about you guys. I try to explain how you play, what you play, and you both sing, and you both sing well, which is another added bonus. There's everything in this band. If they ask me to play something for them, haven't heard Crash Karma, what's the best place to start?
I think "Wake Them Up" is one of the best songs.
To start out.
Yeah. Okay, this has a badass riff. You hear the guitar, and it definitely sounds a little different. It has the whammy riff where it's like, this is one guy playing it. What? And then I sing the first verse. Niki sings the second verse, and we sing the chorus together. The chorus kicks in, and you know this is gonna be huge. And then once the solo comes, and you listen to the solo, and it's one guy playing that solo, then you get the full scoop of what KrashKarma's about.
Yeah, you kind of get all of the elements in one in that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I believe you open with that song.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
The shows, it's great, you know. And I was like, okay, now. And it's devastating when you guys hit the stage. Really, something. It really, honestly, I've seen hundreds of thousands of bands. You know, a photographer as well. So I'm constantly at shows, seeing opening bands, doing what they do, and I've seen a lot of great ones. Man, I've
For
never
sure.
seen anything quite like you guys. Really,
Awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
great. I'm glad to hear
pretty,
that.
pretty cool. Pretty cool. Um, and I know you got a full day, you got all kinds of stuff, and I so thank you for your time today too. You recently released a new single. It's Blind Faith. It's
Mhm.
not on Storm. It's new music.
New music.
It's one song. Uh, do we have more? How are you gonna release more music?
We
EP,
have,
full length? How's that gonna go?
yes, we're working on a full length. You know,
Mhm.
even before the pandemic, we were working on a full length album. And we were supposed to release it 2 years ago. Since the pandemic hit and we couldn't go on tour and we cannot sell any copies live, there was no reason for us to release a full length album. So we started releasing singles, and Storm became basically a collection of singles that we released
During the pandemic.
during the pandemic that otherwise would have ended up on an album. So we kept writing and writing and writing. We have a whole album recorded right now, and Blind Faith might be as well on the new album as well, because the Blind Faith is a song. When the pandemic started, we started covering all kinds of songs, and we also went down the Alice in Chains rabbit hole, and we were experimenting a lot with vocal harmonies. And that's the song where we realized we need to write something like Alice in Chains that has the same vibe, it has the same coolness with vocal harmonies, and that's that song. And we had that song for a while. We recorded it, and when we had the Fozzy tour coming up, we knew we have to release something to send to the radio station, something that's fresh that they're gonna play. And that's how Blind Faith ended up as our last single.
It's great too. It's of course I listen to all your music. And that's odd too for me. I listen to a lot of music. There's a lot of stuff that hits my desk. It's rare that I like the whole catalog. I love your catalog.
Thank you.
No matter what you pick, it's pretty solid stuff.
And
Uh,
this is why
Thank you.
I can't wait for you to see a whole Crash Karma show. Because when we go on the road with Fozzy, we have half an hour, and this is a little too short for us to really put on a whole show, because for us, a show has an intro, and you saw the intro. The intro,
Yep.
we come in with a megaphone, but then the show usually has a peak, and it breaks down, it comes high, and then we have a big ending. And you get the idea, but usually a Crash Karma show is more like 45 minutes to an hour. And there you get the full bitch slap.
Yes. And I want the bitch slap. Let me tell you.
Yes, you want the bitch slap.
Coming to you live.
Yes. And that's dead on, because at the end of the set, I was so sorry to see you guys go. And I love GFM. I love those girls. They sound great. And I was looking forward to them for sure. And they were great. But that it just wasn't enough. It really, you guys seem like you were just getting started.
We were. That's the thing. We finally get warmed up and it's like, and bye-bye.
Well, and as a photographer too, I'm photographing this stuff, and you got the dreadlocks. It's so visual, and Niki is absolutely beautiful, and that sitting at the drums, and just that with the hammer. I mean, there were so many visions that I had in that lens that I wanted to capture, and I didn't want that to end. I was like, God, these guys look so great together, and there's so much going on. It was just so much fun to shoot.
Awesome.
The leaps off of the drum ride, that metal drum bridge that you have around the bass drum. It was incredible. What you did with that small stage was just incredible. I really haven't seen anything quite like it. It was
thank you.
Exciting. When are we going to see new music? I don't want to take your whole day. I want to respect your time. When are we going to see the next record? And when are we going to see Crash Karma tour where we'll get that, bitch
Wow.
slap.
Everything in the fall, hopefully. So we're still figuring out how we're going to release the album, and we're finishing up the mixes and everything now. But of course, we have 1,000 more ideas to add to things, and but we'll have it done and ready for the fall, and we'll see what's up. The next tour will be happening hopefully by then as well.
That's
What we're going for.
Yeah, come on out to Chicago, and we'll do some pizza, or
Yes.
Awesome.
you experience the Chicago experience for sure.
Lovely.
Yeah, man. Well, you guys take care. Be safe out there on the road.
We will.
Yeah, definitely. And you're always welcome here. Doors always open. We'll talk again when the album gets released and the tour's going to happen, man.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's gonna be sick.
All right. I'm ready to be bitch slapped. I got to tell you. All right. Crash Karma, Ralf, Niki, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Talking to you.
See ya. Bye-bye.